why you think automating processes are just so powerful when it comes to getting paid and making sure that their finances are taken care of.
So automation is, I think, a fancy way of saying saves time, right? We are
Mm,
all so busy. We are inundated with notifications, pop-ups, texts from friends. Every single app that we have is trying to communicate with us in different ways. And we're trying to do anything that we possibly can to provide this illusion. And I really think it's an illusion of efficiency, right? I'm running around. I've got a whole list of things to do. I got to check off everything that I need to do. If I can implement some sort of automation to my day, one less thing that I can do, well, then that's phenomenal, right? I'm just being uber productive.